If you clicked on this episode, you're probably thinking, should I leave my full-time job and pursue something that I've always wanted to do full-time on my own? I quit my job over 2 years ago and I've been freelancing full-time ever since. So I know the kind of position that you are at right now. I understand how it feels because you're in this dilemma. You're like, okay, should I quit? Should I not quit? Is there any financial security? What if it fails? I don't have a backup plan. What if my backup plan doesn't work? Like, there's so many things going through your mind, and I'm here to tell you that everything will be okay no matter what decision that you make, as long as you are clear on what you want. So I hope that after listening to this episode, it will provide you some sort of clarity whether you should, take the leap of faith and leave your job, or maybe you need to, kind of like prep a little bit more before taking that big jump, because social media likes to glamorize, quitting your whole 9 to 5 and pursuing something else full time, which I think there is nothing wrong with that. However, I don't want you to use that as sort of like a pressure to put on yourself that like, oh my gosh, everyone is quitting their jobs and like pursuing their dreams or whatever the fuck it is. And here I am, in my 9 to 5. But different people have different circumstances. And I do have to say that I wish I knew these things before, quitting my job. But at the same time, I don't regret the decision because I feel really content now. And I'm kind of glad that I made the leap. Not kind of glad, I'm really glad that I made the leap. So let's get into it, shall we? Now, the first sign that I know that you're ready to leave your job is realizing that your 9 to 5 is holding you back. Now, this might not apply to everyone, but if you genuinely feel that your job right now is holding you back from your potential, then you need to reassess and audit that part of your life, because as human beings, naturally, we want to grow, we want to progress. So if you're not getting those things at a place that you spend most of your time in, then you need to change things up, because you cannot just stay in a place that makes you feel stagnant. Like, it's really linear and then you feel stuck because it's like, okay, I'm here now, but I feel like I'm not content, I'm not progressing. Like, you're basically not aligned with the work that you're doing, especially if you've been there for a really long time. Let's say you've been working there for like 3 to 4 years and you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot stand another day being here. You're ready to quit. Like, mentally, you're checked out. It's kind of like when, you're in this long-term relationship, but it's not working out at all. It's not doing anyone any favors. And in your head, you've already broken up with that person. So when you finally have the guts to tell that person that you want to leave the relationship because it's not good for the both of you, you are more than ready to like, okay, you know what? I'm done. Because previously you've already made a decision in your head, but it took you a while to eventually say that you want to break up, right? It's the same thing as like in a job, it's like you are just really comfortable with the familiarity in the job that you feel like maybe you're scared that the next thing that you're going to do is going to be really uncomfortable, which I'm going to tell you, it is going to be uncomfortable. And being uncomfortable is a good thing because it means that, your brain is working. Like, you're growing. You're not just like, I'm here in my same job doing the same shit. It's like, different days, same shit, that kind of thing. So if you realize that your 9 to 5 is holding you back, I think that is definitely one of the signs that you're ready to leave your job. But moving on, another thing is if you want to, pursue something else besides your 9 to 5, whether that is a business or you want to freelance, is to make sure that you have consistent income from the place that you want to go full-time in. So let's say I want to freelance, make sure that you already have consistent income from your freelance, that you can quit your job. And this might be different for some people because most of the time they are not pursuing, the freelancing thing or their business while they're working their 9 to 5. So alternatively, a good thing to have is a cushion for your finances, meaning have your emergency fund, have your savings backed up, because if you don't, then it's going to be really hard, whether you're willing to make the sacrifices or not. Let's say if you don't have any savings, then, be prepared to take up some part-time jobs along the way while you work on the things that you want to pursue full-time. And I remember when I started freelancing back then, in the first couple of months, I remember thinking, okay, I don't think I can survive financially in the next couple of months because I know that my money was running out. And I was more than willing to, work as a barista. Like, I don't really give a fuck because I know that I want to make this work, aka my freelancing thing. And I don't really care how I'm going to earn, the extra money. I won't say extra money. How I'm going to earn, the money for my necessities while I work on this thing. So either you already have a consistent income coming from the things that you want to go full-time on, or you have your savings, your emergency funds, like a financial cushion that you can rely on while you're building your thing. For me, I'll just give you like a little bit of a backstory. So for me, while I was freelancing, I did not have much savings, to be completely honest with you, or not much savings at all. And I was literally just burning through money sometimes because I would go to a coffee shop and just like buy coffee and do work, or like not even work in terms of like, I don't even have any retainer clients at that point of time, but I pretended that I had, full-time retainer clients, and I would work on my skills like writing, video editing, scripting, things like that. And I'm really delusional, but I know that while working in that cafe, I kind of visualize myself that, okay, you know what? I am upgrading my skills. I know that I'm going to land a job or like a project, but I don't know how, but I know I will. The thing is, when you are left with nothing, essentially, meaning like you don't have anything given to you, because like when you're in a job, obviously you already got the job, you're going to get paid. So whatever is given to you, you're like, oh yeah, okay, I'll do this work, I'll do this task. But when you're working for yourself, essentially, you have to be really resourceful and make use of the things that you already have, and then 10 times it even more, because you just have to put in the effort, right? Little old me was very delusional. I was like, I'm going to, a cafe every single Monday to Friday. Honestly, most Mondays to Fridays, like I would go to a cafe, get an iced matcha or like a normal iced coffee, sit down, work on my skills. I would watch like YouTube videos and like free courses that would help me upgrade my skills. And not only that, but I'm also putting it to practice so that when I do land on a client, I kind of know what I'm going to do. And that's what I did. It took me around, I think like 2-3 months, and then I landed my retainer client. It wasn't even like a high ticket client, but at the same time, I was like, oh my gosh, it is, coming to fruition, like it's coming through. It's like coming full circle. And I was really, I was kind of shocked, to be honest, that I know that I was delusional and I know that I was going to land a client, but I didn't know that when it actually happens, it's like, almost like I was in a disbelief, and that keeps the momentum going. So when you're just starting out, it can feel like, oh, this is not going anywhere, but it will reach somewhere because you didn't work hard to not land anywhere. That's one thing that I've learned. So I went a bit off tangent, but having a consistent income from the things that you're working on, or having a backup plan, meaning like a backup savings, like an emergency fund, would really help. So it will make your leap to quit your job much more smoother in terms of like transition. So for me, I was kind of lucky that my living expenses was really low, so I could, survive essentially, even if I was like earning, even though I wasn't earning a lot, for sure. And finally, you have to realize that you need to be okay with uncertainty, because most of the time, when you are used to being in a 9 to 5, you know that you're gonna get your salary at the end of the month. Like, you will never miss a month. But when you have your own business, when you are self-employed, when you are freelancing, you never know how much money you're gonna earn this month or the month after that, or like 6 months later, unless you have a set of retainer clients that you're working with, meaning that, okay, retainer clients, meaning they sign up with you for like 6 months to work together, so that income, like the amount that they're paying, is coming consistently for the next 6 months. But there are times where people work with you on a project basis. It could be like a huge amount for one project, but then again, you're not going to receive the money at the end of the month. You'll probably receive it in like 30 days or even 60 days for some cases. So you have to brace yourself for the uncertainty, because it is not as stable as people might think. And yes, it can be stable if you know how to manage your finances. And that is definitely something that I've learned along the way, because I really had to work with my money mindset when I left my job and, did everything on my own. And it was not easy, because when you start something on your own, whether you are, doing a business or like you're freelancing, whatever it might be, there are going to be self-limiting beliefs that you subconsciously have that will come up and show up in situations that you least expect. And for me, my money mindset when it comes to like scarcity, it just brings up a lot of emotions, and I have learned to manage it, or like I'm learning to manage it even until now. Like, it is not as bad as before, but I'm definitely learning how to deal with it and cope with it. And at the same time, I'm obviously learning to manage my finances better. But I guess that's the beauty of doing things on your own, right? You learn a lot of things along the way, because if I did not leave my job, I would have absolutely no idea what it takes to actually run a business, how to, write contracts, how to talk to clients, how to close sales on a discovery call, like things like that. Like, I didn't do those things when I was working in a creative agency. I was kind of like, oh, okay, like in my safe little corner, doing my social media content calendar on my Excel sheet. And that's pretty much it. Like, I will go to shoots and I will like assist the shoots and stuff like that. But I didn't do anything that I feel like was contributing enough. I could have, but then again, I wanted something new, something fresh, and I wanted to do things that aligned with the life that I want. I mean, the whole thing about being uncertain or like not stable, for me, that is so worth it to trade for your time freedom and location freedom. I think I value that a lot. And that's not to say that money isn't everything. Like, honestly, you need money. Like, money is a necessity, especially in this day and age. But I do value my freedom a lot. The way that I spend my time, where I want to go, those things matter a lot to me. So time freedom, location freedom, and, hopefully financial freedom. I don't think I've reached that state of financial freedom. I think I will only reach that stage when I know that there are certain things that I don't have to worry about. And I know that I have a lot of money mindset to do, but at the same time, I do think that the financial situation that I'm in right now when I am freelancing is way better than when I was working. And it's 10 times way better now. And I'm like so grateful for that, because I never thought that I would be capable enough to reach to this stage. And that is something that I will never take for granted. But at the same time, I'm also really grateful that I, worked in my previous job, because that job taught me a lot of things and things that I can apply in not just my freelancing business, but also in life. So yeah, again, a little bit off tangent, but like, honestly, if you want to quit your 9-to-5 job and you don't know whether you're ready or not, honestly, you will never be ready. Like, even let's say you have, a plan B, you have a backup plan, you have savings, you have your emergency fund, like whatever happens financially, like you're gonna be okay. But despite all that, you will never feel ready. So sometimes you just need to take the leap of faith, as cheesy as it sounds. Honestly, I really had to dive deep and ask myself my why. Why is it that I want to leave? And, it's not just what I want to do after that, but more so how, the situation that I was at when I was working, how did it make me feel and how did it translate into my life at that point of time? When you are in a place where you feel like you're not growing, it just feels like you're being left behind in life, and it kind of sucks. So I remember seeing, my friends around me progressing in terms of their career, and because they progress in their careers, obviously, you have more finances and you can do more things. Like, obviously, when you have the resources, you can create a life that you really want. But at that point of time, what I wanted, like the life that I wanted in my head, it wasn't translating in real life. Like, the circumstances did not match with what I wanted in my head. And I know that in order to match it up, I need to change. I need to do something different. And so that's why I took the leap to, eventually leave the job and pursue something else. I really hope that this helps you give some sort of clarity whether you should leave your job or not. But either way, just know that you will be okay. Like, seriously, there were times where, you know, I've left the job and it was like 1 month in and I realized like, oh my gosh, can I really do something right now? Like, can I really find money on my own? Like, this is so fucking scary. And it is scary because you've never tried it before. If you've never done something, it is naturally going to feel scary because you've never been to that place before. But that does not mean that it is impossible to do it. So just remember that whatever hard things that you've been through before, just remember that you survived it and you're here. After leaving your job, you're still going to survive and you'll be okay. I don't know if that is great advice, but I hope that, you know, whatever decision that you make, you will feel at peace with it and you will hopefully live a life that aligns with what you want, because life is just too short to do things that you hate most of the time. And I wouldn't want to look back in my life and be like, oh my gosh, I did things that I didn't like for that amount of time. Like, I wish I changed something. And I don't want to look back and be like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. And I think that's part of also the reason why I just, you know, took that into account. And I know I said like, oh, social media likes to glamorize to leave your 9 to 5 and just fuck off and do something that you really love. And yes, you have to be realistic, but at the same time, I do agree that, you know, we only have one life. We can't waste so much time doing something that we don't like. If you are building a business, it's not going to be like all rainbows and unicorns. Obviously, there's going to be some things that you don't like to do in that business. But from where I look at it, is at least I'm doing it for my business. I'm not doing it for someone else, you know? So yeah, even though some things may suck in building your own things, at least you're doing it for yourself. And you know, it's for your own good and not for somebody else's company, in a sense. I hope this episode has helped you in one way or another. Or if you know someone that is, you know, currently in this dilemma, you can share it to them and maybe if they will find this helpful. If you made it this far into the episode, please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel and like this video because it really supports my channel a lot. Or if you're listening to this on Spotify, please leave a positive rating, like a 5-star rating, so that this will push out to people that, you know, that need it, that would hopefully, you know, they can relate to and it might help them in some way. But yeah, I'll see you guys in my next episode. Bye.